Life is full of endless games you can play throughout life, but there are certain ones that will truly make you miserable, like Roblox. I'm not talking about video games. I'm talking about status games in life that you should avoid playing because they will truly ruin your life. So these are the five you should not play. But before we do that, let's define some terms. What do I mean by status games? Status is basically anything where you are, basically defines where you are in the social hierarchy. It matters because low status means that you don't receive any resources such as love, food, sex, anything that stops you from getting your needs met. Where basically you're constantly comparing yourself where you are on the social hierarchy because you want to know who's above you, who's below you. That's why we came with the term keeping up with the Joneses. You want to make sure that you are in the same boat as everybody else, because if you are excluded, then that possibly meant death back in the ancestral days. And that's something that's hardwired into us. Now, for games. Games are basically an activity where there are certain constraints placed on you to achieve a particular goal. They assign you values so that you see that one thing you're supposed to achieve as valuable. That is what a goal is. Some of them are given to you, and some of them are assigned to you by institutions. Now, how does this apply to today? Status games are everywhere. We can see them. There's how many followers you can get online. What is your body fat percentage? So that's a goal you could have to achieve. Or even things such as how much money you have in the bank account, which is probably the most common social status game, because it's something we can quantify. And these status games hijack our old wiring to matter in status, and they drive us crazy. That is how they apply today. And these are the five you should avoid. Number one, the first we need to avoid is the body count game. Minor note as well is that these games also apply to people who go to college or don't go to college, because they are things that we're going to see happen up all the time everywhere. And like I said, the body count game is the first one. What do I mean by this? Basically, this applies to men. It matters how many bodies you were able to sleep with, how many girls you were to sleep with, because guys see that as a scoreboard. The more girls he slept with, the more of a man he quote unquote is. It's basically a fool's errand, because you're basically trying to chase girls and sleep with them to add another notch to your belt. It's not worth pursuing, because you're chasing empty sex, STDs, and even if you don't achieve it, like, what was the point? You wasted that time and could have spent it finding someone who could have built something with you. Does dating suck? Yes, it does. However, if you don't actually build the life you want and try to find someone to build it with, what is the point? Because even then, playboys die, and they'll die alone. So as a status game that you shouldn't play, and instead build a life where you are attractive enough to have someone there, and accept if it works or not, because in the end, it's not gonna work out. Well, who knows if it's gonna work out? You have to have faith in it. The next game men shouldn't play, well, people shouldn't play, is the grade game. Like I said, this applies for people in college, and people are in college. So let's say you work at somewhere. You worry about getting the highest grade in your class, the highest inspection score, or whatever. So to achieve that, you have to sacrifice your social life or your health for the grades. And frankly, that defeats the purpose of the grade, because you want the grade to have a better life, but you're sacrificing that life to receive said grade. Do you see how the paradox forms when you play that game and just to get the grade and prioritize that over everything else? It's not worth playing, because you put immense pressure on yourself. So you're constantly stressed out, don't know what the fuck you're going to do. And you feel as if this doesn't work out. You catastrophize everything and feel as if you're a failure. Who would want to live in that existence, if we're being completely honest? That is not the way to live or the way to achieve those goals. And you're excuse me, concerned with the outcome, and that is what will cause you suffering. And if you care about the grade, you don't put that time into learning new skills, which is what will actually make you valuable as either an employee or an entrepreneur. Either one. The thing is that nobody really gives a fuck about your grades. Like outside of going to college or like graduating, nobody gives a fuck as like your principal does. The grade is just to get you into the door, and that's it. What matters more is like, do you have actual skills? And most of the time you don't. And what you can do is find a hobby, or find something that you're passionate about and learn how to do. Or not even passionate about it. Just find something you're fucking interested in and pursue it and learn the skills. Start from zero and let the passion come as a byproduct of it. The grades don't fucking matter, to be quite honest. Okay, get the grades you need to apply for the fucking job or whatever, or internship, and that's it. Who gives a fuck? You don't need a 4.0 to be successful in life, because the grades, frankly, nobody gives a fuck after you graduate or once you're in the job. So it's better to have a well-balanced life and do good grades. Obviously, depending on what your goals are. And that's what you need to figure out. Like, define your goals so you can figure out what you need to do. The third game you should not play is the virtue signal game. This is very big because we'll see all the friends in college who, for whatever reason, something enters the zeitgeist, and everyone starts putting up black squares on their profile. They start sharing you infographics of the latest trend, or they share the bio of someone that was politicized because they died. I understand communism is very attractive to a 22-year-old, but activism doesn't fucking work. I'll say that right now. When has bitching and moaning ever changed anything in the world? When has it ever done anything? That is not the way to live as a human being, because you never actually change anything, what you actually care about. And you're just showing other people that you care about this issue. But, like, who cares? What you should do instead is take full responsibility of your life, since you control that the most. Why would you want to spend so much negativity or, like, consume so much negativity, such as the news or the fact that there's tragedy? Like, there's so many tragedies in the world. You could die. You could live the rest of your life going through and dissecting every single one. Instead, focus on what you have now, which is your life, and make it better. I feel like you should accept the world as it is and improve yourself. Learn the skills you need to do. Start a business to fix that issue you're passionate about, instead of just picketing it. Yes, awareness matters, but it's better to solve the problem in some way. The next game. This is my favorite game because, well, it was when I was a kid, when I was 20. I call it the drunk lure game. We all remember when we drank. I didn't drink until I was in college, when I was 19 years old. I didn't drink in high school, and I felt like I needed to make up for lost time. So I became the party guy that would, like, crush a freaking 12-pack, take every shot for everyone, match everyone. For my 21st birthday, I took 21 shots on an empty stomach because I wanted to be that guy. I wanted the drunk stories, I was in a fraternity, and I wanted to be like the guys we heard. How this guy, he had this many drinks and he slept in this car and somehow he still made it to fuck a girl that he met that night. We want those stories. And I think everyone wants to LARP as in their lives. I feel like they're in this bigger mythical role. And I feel like getting drunk is the quickest way to get there. You want to have that lure with you, but thing is that after a while it gets old and it gets ugly. It's just I understand, and also it doesn't help that guys are very competitive because like guys love to shotgun beers, do keg stands, but what the fuck is the point? Like eventually, there's never enough beer like you're gonna drink. You're always gonna want more, and you realize you can't do it. And as you get older, your body can't process that shit anymore. So instead of just getting shit faced every weekend, you want to find friends who can hang with you no matter how much um that does it have that. I mean, I'm not saying you can't drink at all, but the fact that you make your identity being sloppy is kind of like it gets cringe after a while. And instead, you should focus on your health, building more muscle, dialing in everything, and find better social things to do, and stop making being a degenerate your identity. Now, the final game. This will probably apply to people who are in college, and this is for anyone as well. The big corporate internship slash position game. What I mean by this is that everyone wants an internship or work at a company with a big name, because the name makes you sound more legitimate. It adds a sense, like I said, it's all about status. It adds you a sense of status. And when I was in college, I remember wanting to be like the people like that got an internship at KPMG their first year. That's an outlier, and I realized that that's not the norm, and I shouldn't have compared myself to those people. But I wanted it so bad, and I kept trying to get them, even though, frankly, I didn't like those people. And I worked in the corporate world for 3 years, and I fucking hated it. It's the most draining, impersonal shit I've ever been in. You're working for something you don't give a fuck about. You're doing things that you have no passion. Yet the fact that I could say I worked for one of the big four accounting firms is why that was my goal for so long. And it was assigned to me from college. But looking back now, I wish I didn't do it because, frankly, I hate the corporate world. I hate how offices are, and I hate the people that work there. But if you don't, because I want financial freedom. But if you don't want that, that's fine either. But don't look at yourself and compare yourself to your friends or whoever the fuck, or some finance bro that's working at some company. Instead, find an organization whose mission you like. Because that's the thing. I wanted to work for KPMG. I don't give a fuck about accounting. I freaking hated accounting and finance. Find a small organization and just build relationships like that. And that's honestly the way to go. You don't need to go to a big name school or a big name company to feel like you are validated or you have legitimacy. Because frankly, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter to a certain extent of where you are because of the resources you can get, like a school or company. What matters is that how driven are you? Do you take the initiative to achieve your goals or learn the skills? Like I said, skills are king in this economy. Those are the people going to win. Learn ChatGPT. Learn how to build a website. Learn fucking photography. You never know when the hell it's going to come in handy. Don't care about these freaking companies to save you or working at BNP, British Petroleum. You think this big ass company's gonna give a fuck about you? Because like the minute shit contracts, you're probably gonna be the first on the chopping block. Now, and the other thing is that people pick these jobs because they make good money. Don't get me wrong; these people make good money at these jobs. I have friends that work at Apple. I have friends that work at Uber and Accenture. Yeah, they're fucking miserable. I'll tell you right now. They're working like 80-hour shifts, like 80-hour weeks. Taking a month vacation, but the money isn't making them happy. I know they're not happy. Their life looks frankly empty to me. I rather live a life where I'm not making a lot of money, but at least I'm comfortable and I have time to create things like this. So I'll leave you with this. I just want to say all this to warn you not to fall for these status games. They're everywhere and they're not worth pursuing. What I want you to do instead is decide what your values are so that you know what to pursue. And Understand that games are inevitable in life. There are going to be millions of kinds. Just figure out which game do you want to play. And if you need help figuring out what is out there, what ideas to need, I recommend you look at the reading book list I have linked in this video and my bio as well. And just find some inspiration. Listen to the ideas of the authors, because the thing is that everything has been written, just nobody was listening. So look at these authors and see what you want for your own life. And I hope you do that and enjoy life. Bye.